Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program agenda. It's December 10, 2021. It's a Friday. I hope you are looking forward to a happy weekend. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for being subscribers of Cignal TV channels 8 and 250 here on One News PH, your primary source of fresh news. And today, here on agenda, we will be talking about a controversy, none other than the online Sabong, but this is of special interest to everyone because kwento ko po sa inyo, I will tell you several stories of alleged corruption that turns out to be black propaganda against a certain government official whom we reached out to. And we will also be interviewing a basketball coach, former governor, I believe, and now running for, I think, Congress in Pampanga, Coach Yeng. And so first we will be interviewing Undersecretary Epimaco the third, and then followed by Yeng Guiao. Sinabi ko ba Yeng o Bren? Ako namamatanda na ako. Anyway, do join us today because I promise you it's going to be a very interesting interview and exchange. Now, before we do that, let's go to our daily starter, which I picked up from the podcast Facebook page of Pastor Rick Warren of Saddleback Church. And it is from the purpose-driven book, Before Attempting the Extraordinary, Try Serving in Ordinary Ways. I will not complicate our explanation this morning. If you are a husband, a child, or a wife, many of us think of very complicated ways to please our spouse. Wait a minute. Okay, anyway, to please our spouse and our friends, etc. But turns out what happens is in trying to make things so complicated, we end up not being able to do anything. Okay? So yun po yung sinasabi nila, no, na kumbaga kakaisip natin ng magandang gimmick ay nangyayari, napapahirap pa yung labanan. And anyway, I'm a bit distracted here because I just got a text. Anyway, simplify. With my wife, what I do is I serve her breakfast in bed. Simple la ang magawa ng breakfast in bed. You don't and don't do it just on your anniversary. You can do it every weekend. And that can make a big difference because doing that is also serving your wife or your husband. Okay, so in any case, that's our daily starter. Before attempting the extraordinary, try serving in ordinary ways muna. Okay, and now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. December 10, 2021, the headline, Anti-Terror Law Constitutional except for two parts according to the Supreme Court. In their unanimous decision, the Supreme Court said okay to the anti-terror law except to two controversial provisions of the proposed law which they declared was unconstitutional. And those who have filed petitions before the Supreme Court against the anti-terror law claim it as a victory, while Malacanang said, we will wait for the official copy of the decision before we comment. So that's the headline of the Philippine Star. It's a compromise and we hope it works. Okay, pakialis naman yung picture ng mama na yan na naka-armalite at na nakaitim na naman. Akala mo statwa, okay? I don't know what's going on with our technical there. Anyway, the header of the Philippine Star, the DILG, seeks Comelec guidelines on political activities. As Secretary Ed Año of the DILG pointed out, we need specific guidelines on what political activities are allowed, when allowed, how allowed. It cannot be just wait and see and guessing game, because apparently Secretary Año expressed frustration that in spite of the fact that it is not yet officially the campaign period, so many candidates have already been conducting campaigns. Kahapon laang paakyat ako ng Tagaytay galing Talisay doon sa zigzag road ng kalsada na yon, ay sos kalalaking litrato ng isang kandidatong batang-bata. Medyo ang problema, hindi ko makakuha yung pangalan para maalista Okay, so it has been observed all over the country that politicians are taking advantage of this gray area. Okay, anyway, let's go to the other news. Chinese hackers, have targeted the Philippine Navy, Southeast Asian countries, offices of prime ministers, etc., in their efforts to gather sensitive information that may turn out to be to the advantage of the Republic of China, People's Republic of China. Kasi yun po, a US outfit has been studying the matter and have determined that these Chinese hackers, although seemingly independent, may actually be state-sponsored, and they are gathering sensitive data, and that this has been ongoing for several months, 9 months, I believe, to be exact. Okay, now next up, we have Malacanang vows thorough probe on reporters' slay. Malacanang yesterday promised a no-nonsense probe into the murder of journalist Jesus Malabanan of the Manila Standard. A veteran reporter based in Pampanga, the 58-year-old Malabanan was shot dead Wednesday and at his residence in Calbayog City, Samar. Okay, so that's the statement of Malacanang, and it is the statement of Malacanang every time a journalist is killed. Sana mas madalas yung statement na we found the killers, we arrested the killers, etc., etc. Next up, we have the official tally of Philippine cases. Yesterday, December 9, the confirmed new cases tallied 562. Okay? So, mababa pa rin. And this is nationwide. Hindi lang po yan Metro Manila. This is all over the country. And the number of deaths is still high, triple digit at 176. I think it's even higher than yesterday. So, what else? So we are now at, just a few points or a few numbers short of 50,000, because we are now at 49,936. Okay, so please wear your mask, socially distance, and do not wander around unless you really have to. There has still been no evidence of Omicron detected in the samples of arriving passengers from abroad. That is good news Let us all continue to pray that that remains the case, because in other countries, they have started to report the fast multiplication of Omicron cases, particularly in South Africa, and I do believe even in the UK, they are very concerned about Omicron becoming a serious health threat if they are not able to contain or control its spread. Okay. Meanwhile, 100,000 OFWs are expected to come home for the holidays. Iyan po, that is where the challenge, the danger, and the difficulty lies. We want our 100,000 OFWs to come home for the holidays or to come home permanently. However, it is going to be a complicated procedure because the quarantine requirements will stand. They will all have to undergo testing. So the question is, will the government really be able to service all of those arrivals? Chances are they will have to be spread out in all the international airports in the country, and then bahala na si Batman paano uuwi, kung saan uuwi yung mga OFW. Basta walang pasalubong na Omicron, okay yan. Meanwhile, Pfizer says boosters effective versus Omicron. Okay, Pfizer is the first company to be able to declare the results of their testing. They tested their booster shots on the Omicron variant and proved that their boosters can lick the Omicron variant of COVID-19. So, ayun, inaunahan na nila lahat ng mga manufacturers with this declaration, which is good news because according to them, if you have had two shots of Pfizer and you get the third shot, you will definitely have a high protection even against Omicron virus. Kung wala naman, kung hindi ka naman Pfizer, ingat-ingat lang, magpa-booster din po kayo, magpa-third shot pa rin po kayo. Okay, and lower in the front page, we have the photo of Yusek Narciso Santiago, the People's Reform Party, and the Hugpong ng Pagbabago Party yesterday formalized a political alliance for the May 2022 elections. And ayun, the signatories are Bambol Tolentino, Ray Anthony David, Butch Ramirez, Governor Anthony Del Rosario, Senatorial candidate Gilbert Chudoro, PRP President Jun Santiago, HNP President Governor Claude Bautista, and Jose Antonio Leviste of the PRP. Okay, yan na po yun. And finally, for our last two bits of news, COVID prevention, quote unquote, tops Google trending searches in the Philippines. Okay, many of you who went to Google this year were doing so, searching for COVID prevention or tips or data on how to prevent COVID. Okay, so yan. Parang ba, word of the year, color of the year, parang yung Pantone color of the year. Hindi ko maintindihan anong pinagkaiba sa ibang taon. Sa akin, parang kulay blue pa rin yan. Okay, and last but not the least, Lexus. Okay, Lexus President and Lexus Philippines President Atsuhiro Okamoto yesterday led the launching of the new Lexus ES model, renowned for its quiet, smooth performance and high level of cabin comfort and spaciousness. Okay, yung pong coaching yan, panaginip ko na lang yan. It's a really good brand. It's a really good car. And I believe I've rode only once in a Lexus, but I've always dreamed of a day of having that kind of a car. Pero, happy pa rin ako sa aking Montero. Okay, let's now go to the interviews for today. Okay, ito, pasakali lang po. No? Pasakali, just a proper explanation. These past weeks, I have been receiving information about certain people going around in Batangas approaching cockpit owners whose cockpits have remained closed. And they have been given the offer that if these owners buy electronic or computer betting machines from them, their cockpits will be allowed to open and they will get protection from any of those show cause orders that are being issued by the DILG. Now, these people who have been going around have placed this condition. Bubuksan natin yung sabungan mo, kakabit mo itong betting machine, lahat ng pusta dyan sa sabungan, all the bets will be done through the machine. We get 30% off the top. Okay? Meron kaming 30% commission on all bets. Yun ang gusto nila. Plus, meron pa silang commission dun sa mga actual na pusta na mga plasada or odds. And then they even had the temerity to say, by the way, we of course need 1 million for the Chip PNP and 1 million for the DILG Intelligentsia. Okay, so in other words, these people and one group are even claiming to be members of the CIDG. Okay, so what happened was they were misrepresenting government as far as I was concerned. Now, what I did was I went straight to USEC, Epimaco, Densing III. Kasi kaibigan naman po natin si USEC Densing. You have listened to him on the program so many times. And he has been forthright all the time when I deal with him. So I called him 2 evenings ago and I said, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend you, but I'm being biblical. I heard something bad and it concerns you, who I consider a friend. So I have to bring it to your attention and ask what's going on. And so what happened was he explained to me, and so I said, alam mo, Yusek, mabuti pa mag-usap tayo sa television. So let's bring in Yusek Epimaco Densing III. And let's find out. Ayun, okay, batang-bata. Yusek, paki-explain na nga sa ating mga kababayan, ano ba yung, how you analyze the situation? Because these people were claiming to be from your office, from the DILG, from the CIDG. Aba, grabe. Gusto nila, sila na lang ang kumita. Walang niya pa tayo.
Well, good morning, Cito, at sa lahat ng followers ninyo. Good morning din. Well, first of all, I'd like to mention at this point that the traditional sabong, which will include audience and people betting, and shouting for purposes of bets, is still not allowed even in alert level 2 status or classification. Allowed na lang ang sabong is alert level 1, and of course, open na siya, and minimum public health standards lang kailangan i-maintain. That's number 1. So right now, the problem on the ground is many of our local officials want to reopen the sabong because they derive income from it. And we've been receiving a lot of letters, including from local government officials. I received 2 letters from 2 governors, and one governor even called me up saying that he wants to reopen even on a trial basis. And there's one common proposal from this governor and other private associations such as Southern Tagalog cockpit operators, etc., etc.
Mhm.
There were one common denomination in the proposal to reopen in alert level 2 status. That one is it will be limited capacity. I think 30 to 50% ang kanilang proposal. And the other one is it's a cashless betting of sabong. So talagang walang sigawan, walang Kristo. And they wanted to trial it, to have a trial. So I told the governor, sabi ko, Governor, even the trial, hindi natin pwedeng payagan. So, doon ko lang nalaman na there's such a thing as cashless betting, no? Ito yung bine-mention mo kanina na may naglalako. Second is for the past 3 weeks or even months ago, we've been really issuing show cause orders, and I'm the one signing these show cause orders when we discover that there are certain cockpit operators operating their cockpit for traditional sabong. Under our current regulation, what is only allowed at this point are the licensed, PAGCOR licensed e-sabong operations. In other words, it's allowed pero for e-sabong purposes only. And in fact, one of the provisions there is maximum of 10 people inside the cockpit arena, and all of them must be fully vaccinated. That's the only cockfighting allowed as of this today, no? So traditional cockfighting with the audience is not yet allowed. So meron tayong mga proposals na yan. Ako, ang feeling ko, ang pananaw ko, dahil in some of the show cause orders, I'm the one signing, siguro tinetake advantage itong mga taong ito na hindi ko rin naman kilala. Buksan niyo ito. DILG will allow you as long as it's cashless, and you will buy this equipment that you were saying a while ago, no? Which I discovered meron pala. Hindi ko alam kung totoong meron, no? But the first time ko makarinig ng cashless betting. I think the term there, kinausap ko yung IT namin, they call it local area network. There's an internet in one place only. Yun na yata ang term that's being used. So, ako itong hindi sabongero, hindi ako marunong kung ano yung sabong-sabong, but I know the importance of sabong as an industry to our economy. Yun lang sa akin.
Okay, now, pakilinaw, no? Ito ba na umabot na, I guess ako yung nagsumbong sa'yo. Ako yung nagpaabot. Kasi yung mga nagsusumbong sa akin, hindi mga chismoso eh. Ito yung mga intelligence people. At sinabi sa akin, Kuyang, alam ko may mga kaibigan ka dun sa DILG. Paabot mo na may mga umiikot dito using their name in vain. Hindi biro yung mga perang hinihingi. Meron nga isang cockpit operator, sabi, magsasara na lang po kami. We choose to keep our cockpit closed than to work for you. Kasi at 30% plus, what else are we going to earn in this situation? In any case, Yusek, shifting gears, what is the future of Sabong? In our last conversation, you said that even within the DILG, there were already discussions on to open or not to open or how to open it. Because we cannot deny, we are not just talking about leisure or gambling or, diversion, ika nga, entertainment. This is a 250 billion industry, and only the rich of the richest are making money through online sabong.
Yeah, correct yan. In fact, I remember I defended this last year, no? Because there were a lot of cockpit operators really pleading to open the industry. And this is the first time I discovered that at that time, they represented that it's a 50 billion industry. But it's from you, being a person within the industry, it's more than 50 billion. It's 250 billion industry. So isipin mo na lang yung mga taong nawawalan ng trabaho at negosyo. The past few weeks, we've been receiving a lot of communication pressuring us to open already cockfighting, at least in alert level 2, no? And in this pleading, they were saying na they're the only industry left behind. Kasi nagbukas na ang sinihan, nagbukas na ang religious gathering, yung mga tourist destinations, bukas na rin. Sila lang ang nahuhuli. And because of that, I opened this because I'm a member of the Sub-Technical Working Group on Data Analytics of the IATF. So last Monday, I opened this so that I can be guided by our health experts, the Technical Advisory Group. And based, when I mentioned to them these protocols that was proposed by the industry players and this governor, na yun nga, 30 to 50% capacity, fully vaccinated lang pwede pumasok. There will be no shouting because it will be a cashless betting using technology. Ang sabi ng health experts, pwede na yan sa alert level 2. In fact, quote and quote, they were saying, mas super spreader pa nga daw ang religious gathering kasi ito nagtatabi-tabi yung mga tao. Kasi ito may technology tsaka malalayo. So sabi nila, for purposes of our guidance, is sabi pwede nang pagbuksan. So based on that recommendation from our technical advisory group or the health experts, no, I already asked our technical working group of the IATF to put this into agenda for discussion. I think we're scheduled to meet next week with this as part of the agenda. Pag okay sa technical working group, and we will have it approved with the IATF principals. So again, what I'm saying is nakikinig naman po tayo, and I think there's value to their communication that they're already left behind amongst all the industries, considering how big these industries are. And we were told parang close to 100,000 daw ang walang trabaho ngayon, yung mga
Ay,
ayan, ang tawag din
yun,
yung manggagamot, whatever they call
Yusek, yung sinasabi niyong 100,000, that is just based on the data that the Games and Amusement Board was able to gather. But the informal number of so many people who earn a living, kasi sa panahon naman natin, because of COVID, ang tao kumita ng 2-3 araw is already the norm. So, yung mga yan, kumikita lang pag Saturday or Sunday and official holidays lang, no? Now, meron lang tanong sa akin yung isang cockpit operator. Sito, ang cockpits ba considered as enclosed facility? Kasi karamihan ng sabungan around the Philippines are actually open air. Very few and mostly only in Metro Manila will you see a cockpit that is air-conditioned because it is really impractical and unaffordable to the operator na magpa-aircon sa laki at sa dami ng tao. So sabi, kung ganyan, hindi ba dapat at least 50% dahil open air, walang sigawan, electronic betting, everyone vaccinated, and I understand you told me they must show their Vax card and must wear their mask, di ba?
Yeah, that will be the proposal. I think all cockpits, excluding those who are air conditioned, will be allowed up to 50% capacity, maximum capacity. Yung air conditioned siguro yung 30% maximum capacity. So we will be hovering those figures. That's not yet final. Again, this will be discussed with the technical working group of the ITF. We will see how the other members of the TWG will look at this. But more importantly, what is important to me is meron akong clearance ng ating health experts and the technical advisory group. Kasi at the end of the day, this is a health protocol issue. And with this kind of recommendation or agreement from the TAG, then at least we will be considering this for purposes of opening. At yun nga, importante nga ito para sa akin, pati yung for purposes of generating value, yung value ng manok ng sabongero, from what I know, mga 2,500 ba yan o 3,000 pesos? And with it continue to be closed, the value now goes down. Nagiging value na lang siya ng tinola. So in other words, hindi maganda yan sa ekonomiya natin if these are high-valued agricultural products as magiging low value siya because it's not being used for purposes of cockfighting.
Total naman, kinaklaro ko na, I'm already taking advantage of this program to exonerate you of all those malicious gossips. I will also exonerate myself to our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I only raise chickens as my pets. I have never stepped on a cockpit in the last 30 years or 35 years since I met my wife. Okay, so pagkaliwa, wala po akong vested interest dito. I am merely representing the community and the industry because as I pointed out to you, Yusek, no, the industry covers yung mga giant feed manufacturers katulad ng beloved BMEG Feeds ko, no, na where I am a lecturer. The industry represents so many laboratories and pharmaceutical agri-vet pharmaceutical companies like San Miguel Animal Health Products. Pagkatapos nandiyan pa yung mga manggagamot, mananari, mga farm workers. That's why for people who don't understand, how can it be a 250 billion industry? Alam niyo po, ito lang ang isang industry that involves animals that has a 3-day expo doon sa World Trade Center sa Pasay City, generating hundreds of millions in sale in 3 days. So, wag po nating maliitin, no? Now, yung kasi yung argument, Yusek, sabi nga nung iba, how is it that this industry or this sport is being prevented when they already allow basketball? And then the biggest argument kasi is you're sending thousands of children back into the malls, but you don't allow adults into the cockpits. Eh kasi sa Sabungan, wala kang dalang manok, hindi ka pwedeng pumasok.
Actually, tama yung Sito. In fact, when I brought this up for guidance from our technical advisory group, those were the first words that came out from them. Pinapayagan na natin magsimba, pinapalabas yung mga tao, may contact sports na rin na naalaw. Tapos ito, with this kind, but of course, referring also to the proposed health protocol inside the cockpit arena, bakit hindi natin papayagan? And I also believe that this industry is really left behind, and considering a lot of people are really dependent on cockfighting, yung mga maliliit, mga informal sectors. I agree with you. We have to reopen this with the same health protocols. Basta importante lang protektado, hindi sila magiging super spreader. I think I agree that it has to be reopened. It has value to our economy, at least in my perspective.
Assuming that things are going your way, the way that DILG, your group, are proposing the reopening or resumption of traditional cockpits, how will you make sure, and pasensya na po, no, I'm just addressing a matter that has been suspected for several months, if not a year, no? How will you ensure that certain mayors will not use their authority to block the reopening of cockpits because they are supporting online sabong?
That's something that we may not be able to directly mandate. What we can only say is that it is already open. And at the end of the day, since all cockpit operations in the country or cockfighting is really under the management and supervision of the local chief executives, the mayor specifically, it's really up to them, no? Whether they will have it opened or not. Hindi namin sila pwede sabihin, buksan mo na. It's really up to the mayor if they will allow it or not. But at least there's already a choice, because as of today they have no choice but to keep them closed, because again there is no authority from the IATF to have them open in alert level status and above, no? Pero pag pinabuksan na natin, ibig sabihin may choice na. The mayor may now let them open it, or some mayors may simply keep them closed, but at the reasonable, it had to be reasonable. In other words, there should be health issues that behind those reasons.
Yeah, I mean, you will, I presume that the DILG will issue the guidelines for the health protocol, diba? Now, what happens is, if a cockpit operator is willing to comply to the letter, the instructions or requirements of the DILG, pero hinaharang ng mayor, what redress or means does the cockpit operator have to complain about this mayor? Kasi ito po, no, derechana, I will be very transparent about this. I have heard already from 3 groups na highly reliable, where they said several mayors are opposed to the reopening of cockpits because they are getting monthly ayudas from certain operators or association. Eh ngayon, hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin totoo, no? But given that growing suspicion, what can cockpit operators do if there is reason to believe na talagang may vested interest yung mayor, kanya ayaw silang pabuksan?
Well, I take note of that, Cito, no? And when the time comes that it will happen, that we will now allow traditional cockfighting to operate, and then a specific local chief executive or mayor will not allow it for unreasonable grounds, then I think a written complaint to us will be in order, and we will intercede and see the truth of the matter, no? Ayaw ko munang pangunahan, pero siguradong sisingit po kami diyan. Kasi kung naging unreasonable na po na hindi binubuksan at halata na may vested interest yung decision na yan, we come into the picture.
Parang napapangita ko na, magpipirma ka na naman ng show cause order. Okay, Yusek, if you don't mind, let's just go for a quick break and then let's tackle other concerns. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and joining us this morning as our first guest tackling the allegations of corruptions is DILG Undersecretary Epimaco Densing III. Okay, can we bring in Yusek Densing, please, when the signal allows? Medyo, ayun, okay. Yusek, can you hear me? Naglalag ang signal ni Yusek. Okay, kasi kanya pa, the reason we have Yusek dancing on our program today is because I caught wind of allegations of men claiming to be DILG personnel or CIDG personnel offering services of a betting machine and permission to operate their cockpits here in the province of Batangas. And the name of Yusek Densing was actually being maligned, as well as the name or the institution of the DILG being taken in their name being used in vain. Okay, so ayun po, and just to summarize everything, niliwanag po ni Yusek Densing that he was the one who has been issuing show cause orders regarding cockpits that have opened in spite of the fact that the DILG and the IATF, traditional cockpits po, no, not online cockpits, have that DILG and IATF have not issued permission or memorandums to allow the reopening. So after all of that, so it seems that Yusek Densing created a reputation for being tough on all of this, and mayors sending them show cause orders. And you've heard, if you came late into the program, Yusek Densing pointed out that they will address this issue. They support the industry and jobs, etc., and they will submit the recommendation sometime next week to the IATF. Yusek, na mukhang sinasabotahe signal ni Yusek. May mga tao ayaw pagsalitain si Yusek. Okay, we will try to reconnect if we can, and let's just go quickly through that, because there are people who have been going around offering a betting machine. Eh, sinabi ko po kay Yusek, mag-ingat ka lang, Yusek. Itong cashless betting that you want instituted should be on a computer that is strictly for per cockpit. Hindi po yung nakalink online network, etc. Because it is the online sabong that many people are protesting against, because it is creating what you might call it, creating a addiction. And speaking of addictions, let's go to our next guest. Thank you, Yusek Densing. Pasensya na, mukhang nasa butay ang internet mo. I will have to go to our next guest, none other than my friend and who is now going into politics. He's a former congressman of the 1st District of Pampanga. He also served as vice governor of the province, and he is a well-known basketball tactician and current coach of the NLEX Road Warriors in PBA, none other than dati kong kaeskwela at kalaro. Hindi ko na alam kung natatawag ko sa iyo, bro, coach, sir, congressman. Good morning.
Coach na lang. Coach na lang, Cito.
Okay, Coach, good morning. Biglang pumutok yung pangalan mo nung lumabas sa Facebook. Yung sama ng loob din nyo about the growing addiction of Filipinos to online sabong. And meron pang araw, sabi si Jerry Pelayo ba yun na nagsabi na meron pang mga nagsusuicide. I leave the floor to you, Honorable Representation from Pampanga.
Yes, Cito. Buti nagkita ulit tayo, no? At naalala ko tuloy yung naglalaro tayo ng basketball at talagang binabaon mo ako pag tayo naglalaro ng basketball nung nasa college tayo.
Do not tell a lie, ha? Pinaikot-ikutan mo ko hanggang napilayan ako, ha? Anyway, wag mo na. Do not bring back the painful past, will you? Let's talk about this congressional run of yours and this
Yes.
valid protest that you guys are raising about online sabong.
First, clarification, Cito. I'm not running for any position. I'm a civilian right now. I'm just a regular basketball coach. So, walang walang agenda to politically. No, it's just I feel my moral obligation na ipahatid natin sa ating pamahalaan, sa ating mga kababayan ang nangyayari, no, na problema na idinudulot nitong ating online sabong, and also the betting stations that are proliferating in the in the barangay itself. So actually sumulat kami ni former Mayor Jerry Pelayo din, no, sa letter to the editor namin. Just to express this, kasi nagtataka rin kami, there's a deafening silence, no, on siguro our public servants and yung mga inaasahan natin na magpo-protect sa atin, no, laban sa culture of gambling, na parang bakit ganito, every time may makakwentuhan ka and even personal experiences. Merong nagsanla ng property, merong nangutang, merong nagkahiwalay na mag-asawa, at meron pang nagpapakamatay, no? And ilang buwan pa lang itong isabong na to at yung mga ating betting stations, pero ganito na yung results, no? And we were wondering why everybody was silent. So naglakas loob kami, hindi na kami politiko, civilian na kami. Pero mabuti naman at may nakapansin, no? I think nagkaroon din ng Senate hearing, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday, but I was not able to yesterday, but I was not able to follow it, no? But of course, our experiences are anecdotal, no? Kailangan siguro pag-aralan ito ng malalim. Ano ba ang naidudulot na resulta ng isabong na ito sa ating society, sa ating culture, at ng mga betting stations na yan?
Okay, Coach, just clarifying certain points, no? Because when your letter to the editor with Jerry Palayo came out on social media, everyone automatically presumed that because you both have political history, you were both running for public office. Are you running for any public office or not?
Wala
Okay.
kaming wala kaming political agenda rito, no? As I said, it is just we feel that it is our moral obligation.
Okay.
Because this is what is happening on the ground, no? So kahit na wala kami sa politika, we're still able to talk to uh, the people in the grassroots, no, nakakausap namin yung
Ano
mga
ba
nasa
yung
barangay.
mga ano ba yung mga nakikwento sa'yo? Kasi mabuti na, na-mention mo, na nabanggit mo, yung mga betting station sa barangay. Because last week, I had to drive to Laguna from Batangas. Nadaan kami sa mga interior roads. And I was shocked to find in practically every barangay na nadaanan namin, akala ko beer garden. Sabi ko doon sa nagda-drive, pare, bukas na pala mga beer garden dito. Ay sir, hindi ho yan beer garden. Betting station ho yan. Ayan po, may TV. So, nag-slow down siya. Tiningnan namin, merong TV kung saan pinapakita yung sabong, merong takilya kung saan pumupusta yung tao, tapos may mga mesa-mesa at nagtitinda ng kakanin or maiinom yung may-ari ng betting station. Eh nakala ko rare. The more barangays we pass through, kasi nadaanan yata namin kung mga 7 barangay o 10, halos lahat may betting station. Sabi ko, grabe na pala ito, ganun pala. Diyan sa Pampanga, ano ang situation, Coach Yeng?
Ganon din. No, actually, ang tingin ko mas marami pang betting stations sa Pampanga, no? Yung nadaanan mo, sabi mo nasa Laguna area ka, no? Pero sa Pampanga, imagine merong mga barangay na hindi lang isa, hindi lang dalawa, hindi lang 3 ang betting stations. Merong 4 at saka merong 5 betting stations. Depende doon sa laki ng barangay, no? At sa dami ng tao. Ganun karami yung mga betting stations na yung nakikita natin, no, sa mga barangays. Can you imagine na paglabas mo lang ng bahay mo na ikaw ay nakatira sa isang barangay, walking distance, ayun, pwede ka nang mag-bet. Although of course, isipin natin, dalawa to no. Merong online, kahit nasa bahay ka lang, kahit ka nasaan, may cellphone ka lang, may computer ka lang, pwede ka na mag-bet. At meron din betting stations. No, itong betting stations na ito, nasa mismong barangay. So ang problema rito, nagiging tambayan siya, no? Nagiging social occasion siya.
Occasion.
No? Yung mga barkada, ang mahirap yung mga barkada, mga kabataan, no? At ang ano pa, ito pa yung kwento, ang mga nababaon sa utang, especially mga kabataan, ito yung mga nagpapakamatay kasi alam natin medyo marupok pa yan sa pagsubok, no? Nagkakautang lang sila ng 5 to 10,000 pesos, 20,000 pesos, mental health issue na, no? Depressed na sila at frustrated na sila at doon nangyayari yung mga suicide na nababalitaan natin, no? Yung kay Mayor Jerry Pelayo, personal experience yung pamangkin niya. No, pamangkin niya yung nagpakamatay, no. Ang background doon, nagkautang ito up to 600,000. Ang nangyari, inayos ng pamilya, tinulungan siya, no, para mabayaran yung utang.
Para hindi na siya katukin ng mga kolektor na may mga barel.
Siguro, no. Pero after that, bumalik ulit, nagkautang ulit ng 800,000, no? This is from personal experience, no, ni Mayor Jerry. Nung nautang siya ng 800,000, siguro doon siya talagang na-depress, doon siya nagpakamatay, no? And this is not just happening in one area or in one demographic. Ano na to, talamak na to, nangyayari to. Magpunta ka sa Pampanga, sa bawat barangay or sa bawat bayan, may ganyang kwento. No?
Kanya nga, Coach, mahaba naman ang pinagsamahan natin. Wala ako itatago sa'yo. Ako ay matagal ko nang ipinupush na mabuksan na lang yung traditional na sabungan. Kasi yung traditional, Sabado, Linggo at saka pista opisyal lang. It is only on Sundays and holidays that it is allowed. And you cannot enter the cockpit unless you pay the entrance fee or you have a rooster to fight. Sabi ko dito sa online, walang screening. You were mentioning that in those online betting stations, young people could actually enter.
Yes, yun ang pinagtataka namin eh. Kasi wala bang hindi pa pinagbabawal ang 16, 15-year-olds from going there. Kasi makikita mo na masyado yatang bata ito, no? Para nandito sa loob ng betting station, no? And it is 24 hours. Sabi mo nga dati, weekends lang yan. Or pagka merong mga holidays or okasyon. No? Pero ngayon, 24 hours yan. No?
At saka yung sa Sabungan, na traditional, ang nakakapunta lang doon, yung may mga tahid na, ika nga namin sa Sabong, no? Yung may edad na, may gulang na. Eh dito sa betting station, akala ko kasi nung umpisa niya na coach, akala ko yung sinasabi nilang mga umpok-umpukan na yan, parang yung nagtatambay lang doon sa mga paradahan ng tricycle. Eh yung pala, yung paradahan ng tricycle, dun sa tapat ng betting station na merong mga mesa, nakakakain ka, nakabili kang inumin, tapos nakakapusta ka pa.
Hindi lang yan, may mga tambayan ng tricycle na may mga TV. No? Doon sa TV nila, may sabong na rin. No? Kasi kahit na nakatambay ka lang sa tricycle, kumita ka ng 100, 200 piso, yung kita mo, maitataya mo na, no? Nandun ka lang sa iyong terminal. No? So yun, isa pang nakakalungkot din yun. No? And walang pinagkaiba to. Ito, Cito, pareho tayong lumaki sa basketball. Ang basketball court, itayo mo sa isang barangay, maraming matututong mag-basketball doon sa barangay na yon. Pero ang betting station, itayo mo isa, dalawa sa isang barangay, maraming matututong magsabong, no, doon sa barangay na yon. Yun ba talaga ang gusto natin? Ito pa, dapat lang siguro pag-isipan ng gobyerno natin, meron bang barangay na pag tinayuan natin ng betting station ay umuunlad? Umuunlad ba ang barangay pag tinayuan mo ng betting station? O lalong nalulugmok? Kasi dapat pag-aralan ng gobyerno yan. Kung malulugmok ang barangay, pag tinayuan mo ng betting station, bakit mo tatayuan ng betting station ang barangay? Gusto mo bang malugmok yung barangay na yan? Tumataas ang nakawan. Tumataas ang rate ng mga naghihiwalay na mga asawa. Tumataas ang dami ng mga umuutang.
At saka, hindi lang yan kwento, Coach Yeng, kasi mismong yung Chief of Police, batang-batang Chief of Police dito sa Lipa City, nakapagmerienda dito sa bahay ko kasi pinatawag na ninong niya, kinuwento sa akin, Sir, may mga nahuli nga kami na mga adik-adik. Sabi ko, saan? Sa Shabu? Hindi ho, sa online sabong. Nung aming ni-interrogate na kung paano nila napili yung bibiktimahin nila, papasukin nila at yung mga plano nila, pumiyok daw yung isa sa mga suspect at sinabing kung hindi sila nahuli, talagang balak nila, lilimasin nila yung bahay, pagkas totodasin yung may bahay. Kasi ayaw nilang malaman kung sino sila dahil dun din sila sa barangay. Sabi ko, ibang level na yan kasi yan yung addiction na talagang sisira kasi maraming tao akala bisyo na parang habit. Addiction, walang pinag-iba, addict sa sigarilyo, sa shabu, sa kung ano, sa alak, di ba? So, Coach.
So yun, actually yun ang yun ang punto namin. Kami kasi wala na kaming magagawa eh. We're not in government, we're just private citizens. So we're just trying to bring this up to the people who can do something about it. Kung wala din papansin, walang magiging boses, lalalim ng lalalim ang problema nito na ito. So ganun lang, no? Purpose namin, wala kaming tinatakbuhang posisyon, wala kaming
Matanong kita, Coach, no? Kasi sasabihin nyo, wala kayong posisyon, wala kayong grupo, you're just private citizens. Your actions are very commendable and it only prove na talagang sobrang sikat ka at si Jerry Palayo. Kasi no, nilabas niya yung letter to the editor na yan, biglang kumalat. And it proved na parang naging boses din kayo among many who were quiet, who were silent, pero nung nagsalita, napatunayan na marami ng galit, marami ng ayaw dito sa online sabong na ito kasi marami nang nasasaktan. Ang tanong ko ngayon sa iyo, Governor bigla, no? Coach, meron bang mga kumalabit? Meron bang tumawag sa iyo na, Coach? Kasi sa akin meron, tatapatin kita. Meron akong three kings na bumisita, isa-isa. Sabi ko, sorry, tabla tayo. Hindi ako nakikipag-away, pero hindi ko susuportahan yan hanggat hindi nyo nalimitahan yung pagpusta ng bata at mahirap dahil hindi dapat yan. Anyway, sa iyo ba, Coach, may mga lumapit ba?
Wala naman, no? In fairness, ganito yon, kaibigan Cito. Kilala nila ako sa probinsya namin, sa Pampanga. Kilala naman nila ako na pagka pinasok ko isang bagay, napag-isipan ko na, no? At desidido na ako at alam kong tama. No? Kilala naman nila ako. So kung kakausapin man nila ako, kilala nila ako na alam nila na prinsipyo ni Yeng yan, mahirap yan baliin at alam nilang pinag-aralan na rin natin at naramdaman din natin, no, ang masamang epekto nito sa mamamayan. So in fairness sa mga siguro sinasabi mo na baka pwede naman na na pag-usapan na lang yan or wag nang ilantad yan sa publiko, pwedeng pag-usapan na lang between us. In fairness, wala. No, wala naman. Alam din nila yung prinsipyo natin.
Wala ka namang nabalitaan dyan ng mga mayor na hindi papayagang buksan yung traditional sabungan kasi mas madaling sumahod ng ayuda sa online operator. Aba, pasensya na, matagal na tayo magkaibigan. Kilala mo gaano ako kalikot maghanap ng information. Dito sa bahagi namin, may mga balita ng gano'n eh.
Wala. No? Mayors or whoever is in government, naimbitahan ako doon sa Senate hearing kahapon. No, naimbitahan ako ni Senator Pia, pero humingi ako ng paumanhin dahil hindi ko matakasan yung no, may practice kami kahapon ng umaga sa akto doon sa may laro kami mamayang hapon. So parang ito yung trabaho ko, hindi ko naman maiwan yung practice ko preparasyon yun sa laro mamayang hapon.
Well, I wish you all the scores. Kasi hindi dapat all the luck. Dapat all the scores, di ba? I wish you all the best, Coach, and your players. And maraming salamat sa oras mo. But above all, I sincerely, hindi dahil sa magkakilala tayo, magkatropa tayo, I sincerely congratulate you as well as Jerry Pelayo for standing up, for giving a voice to many na talagang matagal lang sinasabing dapat ituwid yung pagkakamali na yan, na lugi ng gobyerno, mas lugi pa ang Pilipino dahil sa gambling addiction. Thank you very much, Coach Yeng Guiao. Mabuhay ka and God bless you.
Salamat, Cito.
Okay, yan po si Coach Yeng Guiao ng NLEX Road Warriors and sila may lab. Kaya pinakawalan ko na kagad eh. Pwede pa naman mga 1-2 minutes. Kanya lang po mga kaibigan. Alam nyo, pag coach kayo, talagang kailangan mentally, physically, spiritually prepared siya para sa bakbakan mamayang hapon. Gabi na, hapon o gabi ba? Hindi ko alam na yung mga schedule nila eh. But anyway, thank you for Yeng Guiao, for Jerry Pelayo, who unfortunately is in the United States now. And sila po ay naging boses. And they set an example for many of you. Yeng Guiao, as in his words, they are just ordinary citizens now, not holding any position of influence or power or public office. But they felt that they really needed to speak out on the matter, especially for Jerry Pelayo, where the problem came close to home. Pamangkin na niya. Meron po ako mga kilala sa paligid namin, yung anak nalulong, 800,000 ang nabaong talo sa online sabong. kinalabasan ang tawag ba nila doon, kumuha ng nagpiyansa. Hindi naman piyansa, binayaran, 800,000. Tatay ang nagbayad. Pero mo, naghihirap kang magtayo ng negosyo, lahat ng kita mo, ibabayad mo doon sa talo ng anak mo na walang alam sa pagsasabong, nagsabong online. Anyway, basahin ko lang po itong pagbate ni kasama ni Colonel Anicetas Katigbak. Good news sa operators at sabongeros, maganda at tama lang malaman ng lahat ang tunay na issue. Congrats. Okay, and congratulations din po kay Senator Pia Cayetano and the Cayetano Group na ipinaimbestiga rin dahil kontra rin sila dyan sa online. On the other hand, we pray that the policymakers will support the opening of traditional cockpits based on all the necessary health protocols so livelihoods can be started up again. Okay, let's go with our last blessing for the week. And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus. To our God and Father be glory forever and ever. Amen. Book of Philippians 4, verses 19 to 20. Thank you for joining us this week. God bless you all. Have a good weekend.